At 14, I was abandoned at the airport because of a brutal lie. One sentence, whispered at the right moment, turned my entire life inside out. I didn't know it then, but that lie would follow her for years, and one day it would come back with teeth. It happened on a rainy Thursday. My suitcase was light. Too light. A few clothes, a paperback I'd already read twice, and the old hoodie my dad forgot. He gave me. We were supposed to be flying together. A fresh start, she said. New city, new school, new us. At the check-in counter, she smiled like everything was normal. Even hugged me. Then she asked me to wait by the seats while she fixed something with the tickets. She never came back. At first, I wasn't scared, just confused. I texted, called. Nothing. An hour passed. Then 2. Airport announcements blurred into noise. People came and went. Families laughed. Flights boarded. By nightfall, security approached me. Who are you traveling with? My mom. They asked for her name. I gave it. They exchanged a look. That's when I heard it. She already left. I remember my chest going cold. Not breaking, freezing. Like my body knew before my mind did. Later, in a small office that smelled like disinfectant and old coffee, a woman from airport services explained what my mother had told them. She said I ran away. She said I was violent. She said she feared for her safety. Hey, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Your support means everything and helps me keep creating. Thank you so much. A lie so clean, it slid right into paperwork. I stared at the wall while adults discussed me like a broken suitcase. No one asked why a 14-year-old would be abandoned with no money, no ID, no plan. The lie had done its job. It made everything easier for her. That night, I slept on a plastic chair under fluorescent lights. I learned how loud silence can be when you realize you've been erased by someone who was supposed to protect you. The next morning, a social worker took me away. My mother didn't call, didn't visit, didn't explain. Years passed before I learned why she did it, before I understood who helped her, before I realized she had no idea what that lie would cost her in the end. Because lies don't disappear. They wait. And when they come back, they don't ask permission. The system swallowed me quietly. That's the part no one tells you. There's no dramatic slam of doors, no movie-style rescue. You just disappear into files, forms, and waiting rooms where time moves differently. Slower. Heavier. I bounced through 3 temporary placements in 1 year. Each one started with careful smiles and ended with the same look, tired, overwhelmed, distant. I learned quickly not to unpack fully, not to expect birthdays, not to ask when I'd see my mother again. No one had an answer anyway. Officially, she was unreachable. Unofficially, she'd made herself unreachable. Changed numbers, moved cities, told anyone who asked that I was unstable and dangerous, that she'd done what she had to do, and people believed her. That lie followed me into every meeting, every evaluation. Every file had a sentence that quietly poisoned the room before I even spoke. History of aggression, possible behavioral issues. I was 14 and terrified of raising my voice. School became survival. I kept my head down. I learned how to disappear in classrooms, how to become invisible enough that teachers forgot to call on me. At night, I lay awake replaying that airport moment over and over, trying to find the second where everything went wrong, trying to understand how someone could leave their child like luggage they didn't want to pay for. The answer came years later, but back then I filled the silence with work. I studied like it was oxygen, not because I loved school, but because it was the only thing no one could take from me. While other kids talked about weekends and parents, I memorized formulas, learned systems, learned how rules worked, and more importantly, how they broke. At 16, I aged out of temporary placements and into something colder. Independence without preparation. A caseworker shook my hand like I was a small business being dissolved. Good luck, she said, meaning goodbye. I worked nights, cleaned offices, filed documents in buildings where people in suits talked loudly about ethics and compliance, unaware of how easily truth bent when paperwork allowed it. I saved every cent, ate cheap, slept less, and I kept every record, every report, every note, every discrepancy. I requested copies of my files whenever I could. Most people don't bother reading what's written about them. I did, line by line. That's when I noticed it. The timelines didn't match. Statements contradicted each other. Dates were altered. Descriptions softened. Words changed just enough to protect the same person. My mother hadn't just lied once. She'd kept lying, adjusting the story as needed, updating it like software. And someone had helped her. A family friend. Someone who worked adjacent to social services. Someone whose signature appeared more than it should have. Someone who had vouched for her credibility without ever meeting me. The realization didn't hurt the way you'd expect. It clarified. Anger burns fast. Understanding burns slow. It settles in your bones and waits for the right moment to move. By my early 20s, I had rebuilt myself on paper and in practice, degree, certifications, a career that valued precision and patterns. I worked in compliance, risk analysis, internal review. I was very good at it. Ironically good. I learned how institutions protect themselves, how they close ranks, how truth doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be documented correctly and released at the right time. I never contacted my mother. Not once. I didn't need closure. I needed leverage. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Unknown number. I answered anyway. Her voice was older, softer, careful. She said my name like it was fragile, like she was afraid it might break if she said it wrong. I think there's been a mistake, she said, something from the past. Someone's asking questions. I smiled for the first time in years, because I knew exactly what questions they were asking, and she still had no idea how much I knew, or who was about to read the full version of her lie. The investigation didn't knock loudly. It arrived as emails marked routine review, as calendar invites she couldn't refuse, as polite questions asked by people who already had answers. My mother called me 3 more times, left messages this time, apologies wrapped in confusion, claims that she'd done her best, that she was young, that she was scared. None of that mattered anymore. What mattered was the file, the full file, the one I submitted quietly, professionally, without commentary, originals attached, metadata intact, timelines aligned, signatures traced, the contradictions highlighted by the system itself, not by me. When the hearing finally happened, I wasn't there as her child. I was there as a consultant. She saw me across the room and froze. Not because she missed me, because she recognized the look on my face. Calm, prepared, finished. The panel chair read aloud the finding that ended it all: abandonment under false pretenses, facilitated by knowingly altered documentation. Her friend lost their position. Licenses were reviewed. Records amended. As for her, no prison. No dramatic sentencing. Just something worse. Her story was officially corrected. Forever. Afterward, she tried to speak to me. Reached out, trembling. I stopped, looked at her, and said the only thing that was true: you left me where you thought no one would look. Then I walked away. Some people think revenge is loud. It isn't. It's when the world finally sees what you survived, and you don't need to explain a single word.